Here we got that door open, beautiful.
Armani, do you speak Spanish?
I'm not the best at Spanish. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
I'm
just
still
asking.
learning home inspection in Spanish.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Cristina.
Christina here. So this is our first A-grade class. See, he's there. So how many people do we have? Should we wait a few more minutes? Jenny, let me know.
Yeah, there's 14 and I'm on my way to be with you guys so I can answer questions as you guys interact.
Okay.
I know that there were some people heading your way as well. So some people are going to be there in person.
Okay, beautiful. So the first thing that I wanted to do, la primera cosa que queríamos hacer, maybe you can put yours on mute, and we'll use this one, right? Is explain what a 4-point inspection is. I am sure that you guys have heard we need a 4-point inspection, right?
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like Chinese when you start in your career in real estate. So first, let us know what is a 4-point.
All right, so first of all, a 4-point is essentially what makes you eligible to acquire insurance, or better yet, your clients that are coming in. So 4-point, 4 major components. They're looking for the roof, they're looking for electrical, for plumbing, and HVAC. So those are the 4 main components. So I get a lot of the time.
Roof, electrical, plumbing, and AC.
Which is AC system.
Ok, esto es lo más importante, tomen nota, chicos. El 4 points, como dice, son 4 puntos. Techo, plomería, electricidad y aire acondicionado. Okay, is that enough for the insurance? Because sometimes insurance will ask for something else. Which is?
So which is the wind mitigation.
Okay.
So now the 4-point is what allows them to be eligible, and the wind mitigation is what acquires credits. So it drops basically the price that they're going to be paying. So there's 7 things on the wind mitigation. 2 of them are in the attic, but every single box that you check off, they pay less and less money. So it's more money in their pockets, which makes you the hero.
Okay, so hold on a second.
Absolutely.
No sé si es que vayan teniendo preguntas, chicos, por favor, este es el momento. Como saben, estamos experimentando con estas clases en híbrido, español e inglés. La diferencia para un seguro es tener la parte adicional del 4-point, que es el wind mitigation. Y el wind mitigation es lo que te ayuda a tener puntos de descuento para que tu seguro sea más bajo, sobre todo ahora que los seguros están altísimos. Y el día de hoy vamos a topar esos 7 puntos, así que vayan tomando nota. No vamos a subir al techo, pero vamos a explicar qué es lo que hay en el techo, ¿ok? Y vamos a también hablar los puntos del 2 en el ático, según lo que dijiste. ¿Ves? Yo también estoy aprendiendo, yo no sabía que había 2 en el ático. Así que vayan tomando nota mientras vamos empezando, ¿ok? So this is all yours, this is your field. I'm just going to be following you.
Yeah, I'm going to go around and I'm going to explain basically the deficiencies and the things that we find on the reports, and the reason why they're put there. Because majority of the time, the whole idea of what a home inspection is a little bit skewed. So essentially what it is us inspecting the readily accessible components of the house. So if there's things in the way, just like the seller has boxes and boxes, technically we're not allowed to move it.
Okay.
That's why. So there's a few things to think about before you set up that inspection so that you can have a nice and smooth inspection.
Súper importante ese punto, yo no lo había pensado. Que ellos no pueden mover nada cuando están en la casa. Y entonces lo que no está accesible al inspector, no lo pueden hacer. Entonces siempre que estén representando a un comprador o un vendedor con un listing, tienen que asegurarse que la casa esté asequible para que el inspector pueda hacer todo lo que necesita ver, paneles, electricidad, plomería, que es lo que vamos a ver ahora y puntualizarlos para que ustedes estén conscientes de eso.
Yeah, because essentially at the end of the day, a lot of agents don't like to go to the inspection, which technically is fine, but it's preferred if they do go. Because if there is some type of situation where maybe the panel is covered or the attic is inaccessible, as the inspector, we can go to the buyer's agent, let them know. Normally they contact the clients and get the green light, and then they will move the things, and then we can go and inspect it.
Ese es otro punto muy importante. Todos los que son mis realtors saben que yo recomiendo y enforzo a que vayan a todas las inspecciones. No solamente si es que está representando al comprador, si está representando al vendedor, con más razón todavía. Deberían estar ahí las dos representaciones, porque tú puedes hacer incluso preguntas. A veces los inspectores preguntan, ¿qué pasó aquí? Aquí hay un leak, ¿verdad? Y si tú eres el listing agent y sabes que eso ya se arregló, puedes decir, sí, eso ya se arregló la semana pasada, etcétera. Así que, por favor, no dejen que sus clientes vayan solos a la inspección. Estén ustedes ahí también presentes.
Perfect. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna start on the outside. I don't know if you guys saw this, but one of the first things I did was I put the AC down. So it's gonna give the house some time to cool off while I'm outside and I'm checking everything.
Ok, perfect.
Yeah.
El día de hoy vamos a también a filmar parte del proceso. Kev es un videógrafo y nos va a seguir para también tener como que documentado lo que pasa en una inspección y que ustedes lo puedan enviar a sus clientes como material promocional de ustedes para que sepan lo que es hacer una inspección, ¿ok? Así que síganos y por favor no se olviden cualquier pregunta. Estamos experimentando esta nueva tecnología de clases. Hey, Kev. Say hi. Kev, this is everybody at the club. I don't know how many people we have in here, but a little bit more, right, from the realtors. So I already told them that you are going to be following us, creating videos. Así que los que quieran usar los servicios de Kev, les voy a pasar la información también. Okay, get going.
Perfect. So one of the first things that we do when we arrive to a property, of course, when it's on a real inspection, we get all the building information. So technically, we pull the permits, the roof permit information, all that fun stuff. Of course, liability reasons, we're not going to go on the roof today. But essentially, there's been a lot of changes when it comes to citizens. I'm sure all of you guys have been feeling it.
Yes.
They're a lot tighter when it comes to insurance right now. So they have some new rules that they implemented in January 2023. So essentially, if your home is 50 years or older, they are now requiring a roof permit if you have tile or metal roofs.
50 años, 50 years.
50 years. So if the house is 50 years old, and you have your roof tile or metal, you need roof permit. Now, the same thing goes for if the house is 25 years old and then it has rolled roofing or shingles or anything like that, just like the flat roofing part, then you also need a roof permit.
To replace the roof or to just
For
have that
insurance, to get insurance. That's why they're stricter now. So before, the way that inspectors would bypass it, we'd go up on the roof, we'd take our pictures, and then we would put on the 4-point the estimated life. So
Okay.
they would need a minimum of 4 years for the client to receive
Insurance.
insurance. Exactly.
Ok, importante ese punto. Hold on. Las leyes cambiaron, chicos, y esto yo no lo sabía. Si es que la casa tiene 50 años o más, el propietario tiene que tener permiso del tipo de techo que tenga. En ese caso es tile, ¿verdad? Losa. The
Yeah.
50 year.
Yeah, tile and
Or
metal.
metal. Losa o metal. Tiene que tener un permiso de la ciudad diciendo que el techo está bien. Si es que tiene 25 años, la casa tiene que tener permiso, lo que llaman flat roof, que son los shingles. Is that a shingle roof, right?
So that's a shingle there. A flat roof is that rolled roofing. I know we've all seen it in the back patios. That's the
Ok, shingles es eso que les vamos a enseñar aquí enfrente. Esta casa, this house just got the roof replaced.
Yeah, brand new shingle roof.
Entonces, aquí van a ver un techo completamente nuevo porque hubo la lluvia de noviembre del año pasado causó que el techo tenga un daño y se cambió completamente. Entonces, esta casa tiene esa ventaja de que tiene techo nuevo.
Yes. So before it was fine, the inspector would just put, you have 4 years, we'd send it out to insurance, they would bind the contract and they'd send it out. Now, if you don't have that information, they will get your contract and send it unbind, which means that you're not insured. And then the underwriter has to take a look at it. And then the underwriter is looking for any discoloration on the roof, any ponding, they will find any little thing to deny your claim. That's why it's a lot harder now to get insurance.
Eso se está complicando para que vean. Importantísima esta información que nos estás dando porque han cambiado tanto las leyes y por eso es que es tan complicado ahora. Así que cualquier casa que tenga un techo nuevo ya saben que es mucho más fácil de vender.
All right, perfect. So we'll keep going. So one of the first things we do get our elevation photos, we do our wind mitigation. So this essentially is an impact door. First of all, you can tell by the feel, but also this right here, we do have an impact label. Now, this is very important when it comes to the wind mitigation process.
Okay.
We have to show proof to the insurance companies that everything is impact. And so the thing about the wind mitigation is it's an all or nothing type deal. If one opening or window is not impact,
No
you don't get the
califica.
credit.
Eso está pasando en mi edificio ahora y déjenme les explico. Él está diciendo que esta puerta es fácil de darse cuenta que es de impacto por cómo se siente la puerta y por este número de serie que está aquí aprobado. Lo pueden ver aquí. Ahora, lo importante es que si es que una de las ventanas de la casa no es de impacto, o más que sea una, no califica como ventana con el descuento de ventanas de impacto. O sea, o es todo o es nada. Y eso pasa muchas veces, que cambian la ventana principal o cambian la del balcón y no cambian todas las otras ventanas, entonces no califica. Y en esta casa nos vamos a dar cuenta que creo que las ventanas de atrás no son de impacto. Vamos a ver si es que eso es verdad o no. Así que,
So, yeah, so we'll end up going around. This is a very common deficiency. I saw this when I came in. You're gonna, all the time, reports, it's gonna say failed seal. You can see there that it's kind of breaking. Now you think about it, ultimately, that's very simple, it's very small. A lot of people don't think about that. You go to Home Depot, you can get caulking, you can seal it up. It'll probably cost you at most $40.
okay.
But a lot of people don't do that. So what happens is water is the
So
enemy here.
these little cracks in here?
These little cracks. So when rain comes, there's
Wow.
water that can now fit under there. And now it might not happen now, it might not happen in a year, but you got to think about as water is coming, it's raining, especially here in Florida,
Right.
after years and years of happening, that's seeping behind your wall.
Right, and then the water will get to the other side.
Then you get the problems on the other side, you start getting stains on the inside, maybe you start getting a musty smell and it can lead to mold. So a simple thing can lead to a larger repair. Because a lot of times people say, oh, you're just putting it on the report just to put on the report.
So what the suggestion there will be? Just to add some caulking?
You add the caulking and make sure you seal that up completely.
Importantísimo eso. Un detalle tan pequeño como esto que casi ni se ve, parece que fuese pintura. Un crack tan pequeñito causa el reporte que, pues, que sea una cosa que en el futuro puede ser grave porque por ahí se filtra el agua. Y eso hemos visto muchas veces debajo de las ventanas que hay filtraciones de agua y comienza a oler a mold. Y eso no cuesta más de $40 reparar. Importante para que lo sepan.
Yeah. So getting a house is the same thing as buying a car. You always need to have maintenance. People think I buy my house, I'm done. I'm free. No. You always have to stay on top of your house so you don't get the bigger problems down the line. So, otra cosa that I noticed when I walked in, if you see this here, all these bushes are up against the wall.
Okay.
So what that's gonna do is gonna deteriorate the wall faster because now it's allowing moisture to go onto your foundation, essentially, your roof. Not only moisture, but also now pests.
Oh, so
Now
that
it-
should be trimmed.
It should never be touching the walls, ever. You always wanna have a nice little space.
Okay.
So you see how everything has now grown
Yes.
in there.
Yeah.
Something we don't think about,
No, we don't.
something very small, but
Y es decorativo, es decorative, it looks
it looks
nice.
beautiful. But you
Sí,
gotta
era
stay
eso.
on top of the maintenance.
No se puede tener ningún tipo de grama o arbusto, o sea, arbustos en este caso, o plantas pegados a la pared de contención de la propiedad. Tendría que haber un espacio para evitar justamente problemas de mold, de agua, de deterioración de las paredes y también pests, también por los animalitos que se pueden empezar a pegar. ¿Ok?
Okay.
Continuamos. ¿Nadie tiene preguntas? Hello? Is there anybody out there? I cannot see you. No los puedo ver porque estoy en el celular. ¿Hay preguntas por ahí?
No
¿No?
veo
¿Estamos
ninguna
todos bien?
pregunta, pero tenemos 22
¿Jenny?
personas. Sí,
¿Cómo?
hay 22 personas, pero no hay preguntas.
Ok, Jenny, me dejas saber, ¿ok?
Ah, ok.
Listo, seguimos. ¿Ustedes? ¿Sí? Ok. Bueno, seguimos.
Está muy close ahora.
Every major component of the house.
like I'm even looking right now at the floor, to be honest, 'cause this would come out on a report. I would put broken tiles here. You see all of that split. And then right there, there's some cracking on the driveway. Now, this is always very normal. It's gonna happen. It's very tough to see. You can see where your foot is right now. How it's going off across. That's gonna happen. Happens over time. It's one of those things, especially with concrete, solid concrete, you're gonna get those cracks. It's gonna happen. So you'll see that on the report. And these are one of those things that we're not gonna put an estimated cost because you never know. Exactly. You don't know, and it's normal wear and tear. So there's gonna be categories always to a report. So, or like with TrueView, we have it color coordinated. So when you have it blue, you're gonna see on our reports, if it's blue, it's more of a cosmetic, you know? And then when it's orange, that's a recommendation. We're definitely
Qué
recommending it.
importante esto, me gustó, yo que soy tan analítica. Los reportes de TrueView, de la compañía de inspecciones, son por colores. Si es que ellos te mandan, el reporte está en la parte azul, quiere decir que es un arreglo cosmético. Si es que está en la parte naranja, es porque es una recomendación de cambiar o arreglar y va a tener un costo. Estábamos viendo aquí que está viendo el piso que tiene cracks. Eso es normal, eso lo van a poner en el reporte, pero no es estimado.
All right, so of course, as I'm walking around, I'm looking at the eaves, which the eaves is the bottom portion. And then we have the fascia, which is this front board that's going across.
The brown board.
Yeah, the brown board is the fascia, and then that little underneath part, that's called the eaves. All right, so we're always taking a look at that. I did find a good example on the other side, but we'll see if we find it here, because I know we have an opening on this side. So of course, we always check the gates, we make sure they close, open. But here's a good one that I always like to show people. We got some cracks here, right?
Okay.
So you're always gonna see these on the reports. I wanna say 99% of property is gonna have this. These cracks typically are sediment movements, stress fractures. It's very, very normal. You can go and you can patch this stuff.
Va a volver a pasar.
Exactly, it's gonna happen.
Eso es normal porque todas las casas se mueven. Ustedes saben que la tierra se mueve y cuando la tierra se mueve comienzan a salir estos cracks. ¿Cómo se dice cracks en español? No me acuerdo. Cracks. Que alguien que me diga cómo se dice cracks en español, pero esto es muy normal.
Yeah, so
Se
the
dice
biggest thing
grietas.
to know when you're looking at these cracks
Rajadura.
is to see how big they are, right? So if you can fit a quarter or like the tip of a pencil inside a crack, that indicates that there's more of a structural problem. So that's why we always recommend structural engineering.
Okay.
Because essentially at the end of the day, for inspectors, we are not here to tell you how to fix it. We're here to tell you what's wrong.
What's wrong?
We are general doctors,
Okay.
right? So when you come to us and you say, I'm sick, we're gonna give you that medicine. That's the recommendation for you.
Okay.
Or to go see a specialist, like a structural engineer. And that's the part that a lot of people get a little bit confused. They're like, no, but how do I fix it? We're recommending it to a specialist because we know it's not the correct way.
Importante, si es que el crack es más grande, donde tú puedes meter una moneda, quarter, o la punta de un lápiz, es un problema estructural y ahí sí recomiendan que tengas un especialista. ¿Ok? Ellos son como un médico general, te va a decir todo lo que está mal con la casa y que te recomiendan, pero hay que buscar el especialista para cada área.
Beautiful,
Perfecto.
beautiful. So this here is pretty normal to see, especially that's here is a sprinkler pump.
Okay.
So this is essentially
Water.
mildew, algae from the pump. When it starts to come out, you can see it starts to color the house a little bit. It's typical when it comes to a
Nothing
sprinkler
major.
pump. Yeah. It's what it is, more cosmetic. You would have to just clean that to make sure.
¿Ven? Eso se ve como feo. Y yo tuve ya una inspección de esta casa ya está por cerrar. Pero claro, como se ve feo, ¿sí ven? La gente piensa que hay mold o que puede haber filtraciones de agua. Y eso no realmente es verdad. Es causado por el motor que son de los sprinklers del agua. Pero sería bueno únicamente mantener el mantenimiento de la casa. Como él nos decía, toda la casa necesita mantenimiento igual que un carro. Y pintar esto para que no se vea así en el momento de enseñar la propiedad.
So here, like I was saying, is our sprinkler pump. Now, typically, you turn it on. There's more or less 4 zones. So they normally do the front, left, the right, rear. We're not gonna do it now because all of us will get 100%. But typically, that's what we do. We open it up. You hit the timer on.
Okay.
And done with it, you hit off, you turn it back on, hits the next zone.
Oh, go by zone.
Yeah, so we go zone by zone. So if you see on our reports, you're gonna have typically about 4 videos. Every time for the sprinkler
video.
A video per. So yeah, at TrueView, we really are heavy on videos because I can send you a picture and tell you I inspected it, but that
Yes.
doesn't do anything.
Very.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, how much is a video, right?
Ay, me encantó eso. Los reportes de ellos son en video. Te mandan todo en video para que veas lo que está pasando. Vimos la caja de los sprinklers y hay 4 zonas y lógicamente no las vamos a prender porque todos nosotros de aquí nos vamos a mojar, pero ellos hacen esto por las 4 zonas del agua y van grabando los videos por cada zona para que puedan ver que están funcionando bien.
So this is the main disconnect of the house. We're gonna open the inside panel. Typically, I'd open this one, but for educational purposes,
Electrical pan.
yeah, this is so this is your disconnect, right? Your main panel is this one. So this house has 150 amps total. So if there's ever a moment where you need to turn off all the power in the house, you're gonna run outside and go to this main. When you shut that off, it shuts everything off in the house.
Every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna open the inside one because that we're gonna be able to see a lot more. So then I can explain some of the deficiencies.
Este es el panel general de la casa. Si es que hay que desconectar toda la electricidad, se desconecta desde ese panel.
So now when you follow this, always next to this is their service entrance conductors. Now, if you see, there's gonna be 1 of 2 ways. It's gonna run down to through the floor, but in this case, we have it on the top. You see that? All the way
electricity.
across. Yes, it's the electricity. So
Miren qué
it's all the way
interesante.
to the top.
De ahí sale la electricidad de la ciudad, viene por este cable y entra por aquí. Y por lo tanto, ese es el medidor, right?
This is the meter, that's where FPL will come in, do their thing. So there's little things that you find. They have to be at a certain height above the roof. So sometimes, yes, the key, they need a certain height, they have to be at least 3 feet above any opening, any windows, anything like that. And if there's a hole here, it has to be even higher for safety reasons. So that's why you're always gonna see those things before.
Los paneles tienen que estar, los cables tienen que estar por lo menos a 3 pies del techo, si es que hay piscina mucho más alto, y no pueden estar cerca de una ventana. Esos son los cables que vienen directamente del poste eléctrico de FP.
And then eventually they're gonna have to cut that mango tree. You can see how it's
Yes.
growing, it's about to hit it. So we see it a lot of times on property, you get these trees right on. So another thing, here's our condenser. You have 2 units for the HVAC system. You have a condenser that's outside and you have your AC handler that's inside, correct? So one of the things that we like to do is we always check to make sure it's level. So we're gonna put it down. It's pretty level. When the condenser is not level, it should reduce the life of your condenser. You got that spinning fan, the fan needs to be level the whole time. So if it's a little bit off, it actually can do some damage and reduce your lifespan.
Acabo de aprender otra cosa que no sabía. El compresor que está fuera de la casa tiene que estar nivelado y por eso fue que él puso ese nivelador para ver que esté bien, porque si no está nivelado puede reducir la vida del aire acondicionado, el compresor del aire acondicionado, que es la parte de la máquina que está afuera.
So here, what do you look? So I was looking at the brand of this, right? So this is a Goodman brand.
Goodman.
So you look at the serial number, you can identify the age of the unit. So this is a 2015 unit.
Con el número de serie podemos saber de qué tan viejo es la máquina del aire acondicionado. Ese es del 2015. Siempre nos preguntan cuántos años tiene el aire acondicionado y nadie sabe cómo responder. Pues ahora ya saben cómo responder. Viendo el número de serie del compresor, sabemos qué año es.
So,
right.
so,
Yes, Danny's here as well.
so one of the good things, Goodman is very easy. Goodman is going to be the first 2 numbers. Now, a lot of the times other brands do it by letters or maybe last 4 digits or maybe the 3rd and 4th. So in that case, that's why I was saying Goodman
It's a
is great.
código.
Yeah,
It's
it's like,
un
it tells
código.
you what it is. So if you ever do need to look it up and maybe they're telling you it's brand new, but you're looking, it doesn't really make sense. You can look up the brand and then next to it, building intelligence. And then it'll show you the brand and it'll show you different ways that serial numbers have been implemented. And then you can find what year it is.
serial number and the brand, would that automatically also give you like
You could.
with building intelligence?
Yeah,
Ser-
but that's gonna be the easiest way because over the years, they changed the way that the serial number is made. So that's why if you go to building intelligence, it'll show you the styles of it. So for example, this one has 2 letters in the front, just for the sake of this. And you're looking through and you see the first one has 3 letters, you keep scrolling down, the next one has 5 letters, and then you keep scrolling down, then you find the 2. That's what you're gonna look for.
Número de serie más building intelligence. Y ustedes lo pueden poner en internet y les da el año, porque todas las marcas son distintas. Este es fácil porque tiene los 2 primeros dígitos es del año.
Yeah, that's why I love them. But typically these run from 12 to 15 years. So the second they hit 12 years, life expectancy, where you're gonna see on the report, end of useful life. That does not mean that it's not working. It just means it could break at any moment. You know, we can't tell, we can't see the future, but that always depends on maintenance. I've been to a house personally with a 1975 and it's still kicking.
Wow.
That's maintenance.
Todo
the way they
depende
took
del
care.
mantenimiento. Cuántos años duran, pero por lo general de 12 a 15 años.
So this is another thing at TrueView that we like to videotape. So you will see on the report when you go to your heating system, we're gonna have this running for you. So you see everything's functioning. And just in case that client calls you back and said, hey, this isn't working, no. We have video, so it protects everything. So we all know once they close, there's 40, 60 days until they move in.
Yes.
Who knows what
happens? Es muy importante. Eso pasa con frecuencia. Que en el momento de la inspección está funcionando y en el momento del cierre o el día después del cierre, algo pasa. Entonces, lo importante es que tengan la certeza de cuando se hizo la inspección, estaba funcionando y por eso es que TrueView hace el video de que la máquina sí estaba funcionando.
Cristina.
Casi me
I'm just gonna mention this.
voy en contra de una araña.
You're gonna see this a lot when it comes
Cristina.
to our reports as well. Tree overhang, right? So a lot of people ask, is that necessary? I've walked into 1,000. So you're gonna see a lot of the time, tree overhang are gonna be on reports. Now, tree overhang. So the tree is over your roof.
Okay.
Now there's a very specific reason why we say this. We live in Florida.
Yes.
What do we have in Florida? Hurricanes. Those are strong. If this came down, that's on your roof. That's on the new house you just paid for. And you know this is heavy. That's going to destroy this.
Big
It's a big tree. So that's why you'll see that a lot of the reports, tree overhang. Again, it's not something you have to do, but we recommend it.
The insurance will notice this?
They won't say anything
They
about
won't say
this.
anything.
No. The insurance is the 4 things that I had mentioned.
Just the 4 points.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of the times I get people ask, is it a pass or fail? Right? Technically, it's whether you can acquire insurance or not. That's what's going to tell you whether you can close or not. Yeah. So they're looking for is the roof. They're looking for HVAC system, which is your AC, your plumbing, and your electrical. And now there's factors to each of those things. All right. So for your roof, like I mentioned before, it has to be a certain age, typically 1994 and early.
Para que las casas califiquen, en el techo prefieren que sea desde 1994 para adelante,
Yeah.
o sea, hasta ahora.
That's the minimum that they're going to want to see. It's, I believe, September 1st, if I'm not mistaken, of 1994. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for holes in your roof. They're looking for ponding, any reason to say no. Exactly. So that's what they're looking for. Now, when it comes to your electrical system, they're looking for certain brands. We have outdated panels that they don't like.
Yeah.
So an example of those is Zinsco, Federal Pacific. So those they don't like.
Anoten eso, por favor, que aquí no podemos hacer Zinsco y Federal
And
Pacific. No les gusta las aseguradoras de esas marcas de paneles eléctricos porque están ya outdated, están
Yeah, those
Muy
are
viejos.
outdated panels. They're either going to one of 2 things. They're going to tell you to change it, or you're going to pay more. Those are one or the other. Now, when it comes to plumbing, they're looking for your piping. That's what they want. They don't care that your water heater is 20 years old. They don't care about that. They care about what piping do you have. So the 2 that they do not like is galvanized piping and polybutadiene piping. Polybutadiene. I know it's a mouthful. But polybutadiene is like it's a great pipe. It's very flexible. But the problem with those is that the way that they connect the pipes is that they put a copper ring around it and they clamp it shut really hard. And so what that does is it causes little hairline fractures inside of that pipe. And it doesn't happen over, right then and there, but over time, those little hairline fractures allows water to start coming. Galvanized piping.
Galvanizado o
Polybutadiene.
polybutadiene.
Those are the two that they don't want to see.
No les gusta ver eso en los reportes que sea la plomería.
I'll show you once we
Lo vamos a ver ahora. Así que quédense en este canal, no se vayan.
I can write it on the chat.
Yeah, so Federal, Pacific, Zinsco. Yeah, they do not like those. Yeah.
Federal Pacific
And Zinsco. Okay, so put on the chat one way to really know if it's an outdated panel is look at the breakers. If they're colorful, 99% it's outdated. So always look for black breakers. Boom, it's the same. If it's colorful and it's this rainbow, probably outdated.
Los
All right.
paneles eléctricos que son los negros completos son los que son más nuevos y más modernos. Si es que han visto paneles eléctricos que tienen muchos colores dentro de los breakers, es porque están outdated, son viejos.
Yeah. Because of course, there's a lot of information coming, so that's the best tip I can give you. Look at the breakers and look at the colors.
Okay.
But we'll go through all the deficiencies of the electrical panel once we open it up inside.
Okay.
So here's another one that you'll see is pretty typical. It's weatherproof panel, weatherproof cover that you're gonna want on outside.
So they need it. It doesn't have
It's
to recommend.
No, it's a recommendation. We always do. We have a little tester right here.
Okay.
And so what we do is we're gonna put it in here. And see, it went red.
Yes.
So this actually isn't wired correct. It
It's
doesn't
not.
have a ground wire.
Interesante.
Mhm.
Tiene conexión eléctrica, pero no está hecho bien la conexión. Porque salió la luz roja. Si salía la luz verde, estaba bien.
Then we're good to go.
Okay.
But that one was red and it was not all the way in the back. And the back tells me it's good. All the rest tells me it's ungrounded, it's reversed.
O sea que habría que cambiar la conexión eléctrica.
Typically, that's the main reason why we don't put estimated cost on these
Right.
when it comes to electrical. We don't know if it's the outlet, we don't know if it's wired, we don't know if it's from a panel.
So you do have electricity, but it's just not the correct way.
Exactly.
Interesante.
It happens all the time. People pick up people off the street and they like fix it. And they just want to get it done and that's it.
Okay.
So, of course, this is, more recommendation. You always know your fence. You can see that a lot of it's kind of beat up right now.
Yes.
It's starting to get rotten on the bottom. This is going to turn out blue
Right.
on that report.
Cosmetic.
It's a
Eso sería
cosmetic thing to see.
cosmético, no influencia en nada.
Okay, so you can see here we have some fascia damage. It's going through here, right?
The cracks.
Yeah, this is all fascia damage. Now, if you come through this corner, you can start to see this is opening up. I don't know if you guys can see that over here.
Oh, through the corner.
Yeah, you see how
Yes.
that's opening up?
Mhm.
So we're always gonna put on the report that there's a gap. The reason why we put that is almost the same as the bush in the front. That's pests going inside,
Oh, por ahí se pueden meter los animales.
and that's how you get. all
No sé
those
si es que
termites
alcanzaron
in
a ver
there,
eso, chicos.
Rats.
Ahí justo en la esquina hay un espacio entre el fascia. Y eso va en el reporte porque por ahí se meten los animales. Entonces eso debería estar corregido.
So again, not super expensive, but it's important because in the long run, it's gonna help. Let's walk around here, see if I find anything else. Then we'll hop on side. So that's good news. Okay, so these are not impacts.
¿Sí
But-
ven? Esos vidrios no son de impacto.
Yeah, I can tell you off the bat with the feel of it. But the good thing is, this is how you bypass that part. They have shutters in the back. So because of that, they will get their full credits because they have something protecting.
Ok, importante. Si no son vidrios de impacto, pero tienes shutters para las ventanas que no son de impacto, entonces el seguro te va a dar el crédito. O sea, o se va a pasar para
Yeah.
va a calificar para seguro, pero no vas a tener los puntos de descuento because they're not impacted.
So here's
Mhm.
something to note about that, just so everyone's aware. Those look okay. Okay, so the clam shutters, You see this in old houses, you know, the big ones that have like 2 sticks,
Ajá,
you know those?
sí.
Those do not qualify as protection.
Tienen que ser accordion
Yeah.
or those.
Yeah,
or like-
exactly. And those need to have a Miami-Dade approval on it. Because there's a lot of times that they have, they're called like stucco shutters.
Mhm.
So they're like those shutters, but they have what looks like almost like dots all around them, like little patches.
Mm.
Those generally are not approved.
Los
Just
shutters
something
tienen que
to
ser
keep in mind.
aprobados por Miami-Dade County. Como ven, aquí están todos los huequitos para poner los shutters. Eso es la caja del internet.
So they have 2 cleanouts, I've noticed. They have one in the back and one in the front.
That's for the.
This is for your plumbing.
Oh,
So,
okay.
so
Bien.
we offer upgrades for drain line inspections to see how your lines are. 150% recommend if you have cast iron. 150, like, do it. Because you're gonna spend a little bit more money now, but it's
So you
gonna
can
save you in the
drain it.
long run. Exactly.
Eso es para drenar la plomería. Por lo
So you
general
can
tienen
run the
dos.
camera through there and you can see how the pipes are.
Y por ahí pueden meter una cámara y ver cómo están los tubos de la plomería.
Yeah, because normally with cast iron at this time, they're all past about 50 years.
Ujú.
So they're already ending. But a lot of people want to bypass it because it's $300. Pero
El costo de ese reporte.
yeah, to add the
300.
drain line, it's an
drain line.
extra 300, I want to say, give or take.
Okay.
Now, you think of the grand scheme of things, maybe your inspection is going to be $1,000, maybe, right?
Right, if you're adding all this.
Exactly,
additions.
if you're adding all this. But the way I see it, you spend $1,000 now, and when you're in your inspection period, you're not obligated to stay in that contract
Exactly.
financially, legally, nothing.
Exactly.
But if you skip it, and then let's say you live in this house for 3 months and all your pipes are backing up y todo, and then you check and now it's a $45,000
To change the.
fix to rip off your kitchen, to run new pipes and close everything up. So we'll give it $1,000 to know and back away, or $45,000.
How do you know, I mean, would be the normal cost of just changing the pipes?
That's a good question. That would have to be with the plumber. Yeah.
Si ven, porque no necesariamente, o sea, si es que ya sabemos que las líneas de la tubería están malas o tienen que cambiarse, ese reporte nos avisa si están ya al final de la vida para cambiarse. Pero es importante contactar a un plomero para saber cuánto solamente costaría cambiar las líneas de los tubos de la plomería y no esperar a que haya o se rompan y se inunde toda la casa y tengas que cambiar cocina, pisos, etc.
Because you can't believe the things I've seen. I've had cracked piping completely filled with roaches.
Oh, yeah,
I've seen the roots from trees break inside. Yeah, and then they kind of get run through from the water going in a lot of the times, and it trenches a little bit, and water just sits. There's a lot of different little things that you end up seeing, and you run through your camera, and the whole thing is full of water.
Right.
It shouldn't be.
Okay, that's important.
Let's see what else we got here. Then we'll
Okay,
go on
seguimos,
inside.
siguen ahí.
There's more of that gap I was talking about. You're gonna see that there.
De hecho,
And you can tell they did a repair here. Because you can see the patchwork all the way
Yes,
from that
de la
end.
pintura.
Oh,
aquí parece que hubo algún tipo de filtración porque se puede ver el cambio de la pintura y de la textura en la pared.
they got a little patchwork. And I got a little
Ajá, el vidrio.
broken window they tried to fix here. All little things to note. Little damaged screen. You can see all the damage here. It's a little bit broken. All of that will be on the
the
report,
report.
and that's all gonna be blue. It's all
Porque es
cosmetic.
cosmético.
But yeah, let's hop on inside and
Alright.
let's take a look.
Bueno, pues, menos mal no está lloviendo. Pudimos hacer esta inspección por toda la parte de afuera y ya vamos a empezar por la parte de adentro. ¿Hay alguna pregunta que tengan hasta el momento? Déjenos saber, por favor. Marinela, Gisela, confírmeme que sí están escuchando bien.
Sí, estamos
¿Sí?
escuchando bien.
¿Sí?
Quería saber, I want to know if an inspector has ever been sued because right after the buyer purchased the property happens, whether it's the pipe bursting or the AC.
Ok,
Can,
ahora le pregunto, pero
Ujú.
justamente lo que él nos comentaba es que con la compañía que ellos tienen, ellos graban O sea, tienen videos, no solamente fotos. Y en los videos que tienen, déjenme entrar a la casa porque hace mucho ruido. Sí. En los videos sale si es que en qué condiciones estaba la casa. Ahorita le preguntamos.
Sí, pero la mayoría de los inspectores no tienen videos.
Yes, o sea, los videos prueban en qué condición estaba la casa en el momento que se hizo la inspección. Obviamente hay ocasiones en que después de que cierras algo puede pasar. I have a very good question here for one of our agents. Do you know if someone or an inspector has been sued by the buyer or actually the seller, you know, something happens after the closing and they say, you know, it was not in the report or whatever.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. So one of the most important things you should always do when you're getting an inspection is make sure that your inspector is insured. I cannot stress that enough. Make sure they are insured. The minimum an inspector needs to be insured is $300,000. So that's a huge deal. And the reason why, this was not our inspectors, this was another company. I'm not gonna say anything, but what happened was this person went into the attic and they saw that there was termite damage on the truss, which this is very, very important. And instead of noting, you can get like a little screwdriver, poke a little hole, and you can show.
That there's termites.
Yeah, no, grabbed it with their hand and started squeezing and breaking. So when they showed the sellers and they tried to find this guy, guess what happened? Gone in the wind. Couldn't find him. Disappeared. So that means the escrow that the clients just put down, done. It's gone, because it has now to pay that, which is one of the main reasons why as inspectors, we don't move things, we don't open shut-off valves for the main water, because if something happens, we are liable. You gotta think about this, shut-off valves never get moved, generally for years. And it's happened to us before, where you just lightly touch it and it pops up, and the water just goes, and it happened, unfortunate to us. But we had insurance and we were able to take care of it, because accidents happen.
Importantísimo eso, I don't know if that answered your question, Gisela. Sí, él dice que los inspectores son demandados todo el tiempo por cosas que puedan ser culpa de ellos o no, not necessarily could be your fault, pero a veces que porque algo pasó después del cierre. Lo más importante es que ustedes sepan que cuando contraten una compañía de inspección esté asegurada y el seguro sea de mínimo $300,000. So, es muy importante saber eso.
Yeah,
Perfect.
but definitely
You know
they
that-
have been sued in the past, because
I can't hear you.
That actually happened with a shut-off valve, with the hose. We were going through the walkthrough.
well, I'm gonna open
Hold
it
on a
up
second.
again.
Yeah, we're gonna follow it. Let me see if Jenny can hear you, because I can't hear you. So I have the audio on my phone. Gisela was asking a question. So I don't know if you heard the question. I'm just. Go ahead.
All right, what do we got?
Gisela, go ahead. I can hear you now.
I wanted to ask also, last year, an inspector had told me
I'll show you some
that the
things to-
4 points is not
keep in mind
needed after a certain year.
The General
If
Electric.
it's a new construction or,
Hold on a second, Gisela. Can you put it in the chat or wait, because now he's talking and he's gonna show us anything.
I
The
don't know
electric
if
panel.
you want, you can get the question, so it's open.
Okay, so go ahead and ask the question, sorry.
there was an inspector last year that said the 4 points wasn't needed after a certain year of it's built. Is that true?
So Gisela's asking if after a certain amount of time or a year, the inspection's not needed. I guess if it's a new construction, it's a 4-point not needed.
Always,
Always.
let me tell you, always, it's better to have it and not need it than not. So that's why I assure you, we give it to you for free every time that you do it. Free, 4-point and with mitigation. We're out here in the property anyways, and you need it to close. So
what is it that you give us for free? What was that?
wind mitigation and 4-point is free for every full home inspection that you do. And if you do a condo inspection, wind mitigation is free, because they don't need 4 points for.
Okay, so full inspection, everything is included.
Wind mitigation and 4-point is included, absolutely. Yeah, because
Is it-
normally you have to pay for other companies. If you want to do standalones, we do standalones, give or take.
What's
Don't-
the calendar?
just wind mitigating 4-point.
Just one.
Yeah. Don't quote me on this, but it's about 250, I think.
Importante
That's
que
more
se
the girls in the office that deal with that.
Sí, yo estaba preguntando, Jenny, si es que para una construcción nueva de menos de un año o de un constructor se necesita una inspección. Yo siempre lo recomiendo a mis clientes que hagan la inspección. Porque cuando uno va a un builder y te haces el primer walkthrough, estás como un representante de la casa de construcción y no necesariamente sabes qué puede estar pasando o no. Es preferiblemente gastarse $300 o $400 extras y tener tu propia inspección para poder debatir cualquier problema con la constructora. Así que vamos a sacar el panel eléctrico y les vamos a enseñar los puntos de la electricidad y luego la plomería.
Cristina, ¿me escuchas?
Ask Jenny, I can't hear you. If you guys are talking to me, I can't hear. So any questions, Jenny's going to be able to take them, okay?
Jenny,
Right. So.
preguntan en el chat si es
So like I
septic
mentioned
tank
before,
o
this General
si es de
Electric.
alcantarillado
right
esta
there.
propiedad.
General
Ok,
Electric is
yo ahora
good.
le pregunto a ellos, ahora mismo estamos en el panel.
So it'll say the name right there,
Yo ahorita
General
les
Electric.
pregunto.
That's one of the accepted panels, which is good. So now we're gonna take a look at what's inside. All right,
Okay.
so what we're looking for here, we have two hot wires. We have 1, 2, and you can tell that these are from the main feeders because of the gauge of the wires. They're thicker than all the other ones.
Ajá, son los principales.
So these two are your hot wires. This is your neutral wire. It's gonna be wrapped in white.
Okay.
And then generally, your grounding is gonna be in green. You have a,
Grounding is the one comes from, what do you mean by
that's the
grounding?
ground the panel, so it makes it safe essentially, just in case there's an electrical surge or anything, it's not going out. Place.
Okay, es el que es la
Yeah,
seguridad.
it gives it a safe place for the panel to discharge, just in case. So generally, those are gonna be in green.
Okay.
So these are wired correctly. Now, let me see if we have any double taps, which I wanted to show you guys, but I will explain. If I don't see one, okay, so I don't see one.
Double tap meaning here?
Yeah, and so you're gonna see that a lot on a report. It's generally a very typical deficiency to see. So what a double tap is, you can probably see better here, right? So you see this breaker has one wire to it, correct? So a
Ajá.
double tap would be if they put another wire.
Another wire. Ah.
That's what a double tap is.
Okay.
So a lot of people get really scared when I say double taps. It's honestly pretty easy.
You just add another.
The amount of a breaker is about $6,
Mhm.
and that's me being,
Yes, in Home Depot. you
yeah,
can
it's
get
probably a
them,
little bit
yes.
cheaper. So all you gotta do is add another breaker and
And
you wire
put the
it,
wire.
and then you're okay.
Oh, okay, y aquí hay espacio para poner más.
Yeah.
Más breakers.
And then another thing to note is that you can see the wiring here. Those are copper wires.
Mhm.
Copper wire is good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Venga el panel.
there's gonna be one that people tend to get very confused is aluminum wiring. Now, stranded aluminum is good, it's accepted.
Okay.
Single strand aluminum is not accepted. So you'll see it, stranded aluminum is gonna be like that, but in silver.
Okay.
And then the other one, solid, is just one thing I see of aluminum. Just one
And
thing.
which one is the one that's accepted?
The solid, the stranded is
Ese está
accepted.
cubierto.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's a reason behind that. The strands allow heat to be dispersed easier, so it doesn't
Okay.
heat up as much.
Okay.
But the single strand is one solid piece of aluminum, and so that one gets hot. so that can-
Ah, qué importante esa información.
Which you'll see it'll be there and it'll be almost like in a little sleeve. If you ever see that sleeve, it's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
Okay. Y ese color como gris, like a silver.
Yeah, it's like a silver. So those are little things to keep in mind when you, and then if you listen, there's no buzzing,
Uh-huh.
which is good.
Yes.
There's no buzzing at all. So those are little things that we're keeping in mind when we're looking at this. There's no trip breakers. So that's another good thing. We
Okay.
always look for trip breakers. That means there's too much of current in here. They probably have high amperage plugged into one. It happens a lot with double tap.
Trip es cuando están como
Yeah,
movidos.
when it like pulls
Cuando
back.
están movidos.
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So those are all the things we're looking for. So right here, this is a good wired electrical panel.
Okay, good.
We're wired good, it looks solid, you got good connections, no double taps, it's good stuff. And we'll put this away at the end so we can
Okay.
keep the
Perfect.
party going. So generally, I will be, when I do
Running.
inspections, I run this immediately.
Mhm.
So like I mentioned before, TrueView, we're really big at videos.
Video.
Very, very big. So you will see 3 videos. you're gonna see when we turn it on, you're gonna see in the middle of the cycle and at the end. Once it finishes running its whole thing, then we're gonna go back and we're gonna take a look at it and show you a video that nothing's leaking and nothing's going on like that.
Excelente.
Same thing would be with dishwasher. We would run a full video on the dishwasher. Of course, here, when we do inspections, it's, you know, we're turning this on. This is really dusty, so I don't want it
Yes.
to like burn anything. But we have a thermal camera here, which I'll show you guys with the water, because I think it's pretty cool. Hopefully there's hot water here. We'll find out. We'll find out. I'll tell you that. So this is a thermal camera. So we use this a lot. And this tells us if it's heating up properly. So what we're looking for is over 95 degrees. If it's over 95 degrees, that means that your water heater is working.
It's working.
Mhm.
Y el water heater está acá.
Yeah, I saw the little tie-in up there. So I'm gonna say,
Entonces también para los videos hacen de los electrodomésticos cuando arrancan, cuando están funcionando y cuando apagan, igual del dishwasher. Entonces también van a probar que el agua esté funcionando. En esta casa el agua, el tanque de agua es un siren, que es de los pequeños que lo ven ahí arriba. Ya se prendió la luz verde, eso quiere decir que está corriendo el agua. Y ahora en la camarita que él tiene, mide el calor del agua. Tiene que estar 95 grados.
So typically tie-ins take some time, so if
Yes.
this house is vacant, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to show you guys. But here's a good example. I'm gonna be able to see it with my hand. So if you look now, it's not colorful at all, right? So now you see my hand is in there. See the difference in temperature?
Ajá.
That's how we check to make sure. Normally the water is gonna look like my hand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's how we check the temperature of that
Water,
water.
water.
Again, it's a tie-in, this is vacant, so it does take time.
Sí, takes time.
But this is generally how we test it, and you will see it in the
You'll see it
video.
running. How it goes.
Yeah, so this is how we check it. You'll see
That's
we,
awesome.
we pull that out a lot.
Mhm.
Another thing that we do, of course, is we go under here, we check the piping. We make sure that nothing is leaking in here. We run both sides of the sink to make sure that this side's okay and this side's okay. Now let's see what type of piping we got. Let's see if I can see it. Piping in the wall. Okay, that copper pipe. That's good.
Copper piping.
Copper piping.
Okay.
So you can tell that by the color of it. So a lot of the times, even copper is gonna change colors over time. I know we've all seen it, it kind of comes like green, gets a little bit gray. So a lot of people ask me, how do you check to see if it's galvanized or it's copper piping? So what you do is get a little screwdriver, something pointy,
Y scratch it.
you scratch the top of it,
Ah,
and you'll
okay.
see the
The
copper
color.
pop out. Because
Okay.
again, it's very normal for it to change colors.
Mhm.
It's gonna happen all the time. And same thing with the oven, we run thermal camera and all that. Let's check that AC system.
Okay.
Now we've had it running for a few minutes, I don't know where it is. I haven't
AC
had a
system.
chance.
And of course, we have the doors open, so,
It might be a little bit different, but we're gonna.
but it has cooled down. It was in 70 already. Estaba en 75 cuando llegamos.
All right, good. So it's down. So you can see here the same thing. This is what I was talking about before. You look at the serial number, you see it starts with 15. So this is a 15 unit. Once again, I will say disclaimer, that's for Goodman.
Por Goodman.
Do not look at every single unit and be like, oh, it's this age.
Aquí está la marca Goodman, lo que estábamos diciendo, y si ven en el número de serie, alcanzan a ver, empieza con 15, y por eso es que sabemos que es del 2015 esta máquina, porque sí funciona esta marca.
And then typically, you look at the model number.
Okay.
You find the first group of numbers there, and you divide it, that's divisible by 12. So this one's 37, so if you take it down to 36, divided by 12, it's a 3-ton unit.
Oh, para
Ajá.
medir la tonelada. ¿Aprendiste eso, Jenny? Para medir las toneladas, de cuántas toneladas tiene el aire acondicionado, si ven en el número del modelo, este número es 37, lo dividen para 3.
Entonces 37, quitas 1, 36 dividido para 3 es 3. Entonces esta máquina de aire acondicionado es de 3 toneladas.
Yeah, so you're always gonna divide by 12, so this was 60, divided by 12, you know, you got a 5 ton unit.
Ah,
So that's how you would see. Here's, we have a safety flow switch. This is fantastic. I recommend every single person to get one of these in their house. It's very cheap to get at Home Depot. But what this will do is this little line here has a sensor that if it senses any type of water or backup, boom, it shuts off. It shuts the whole unit off.
ajá.
So these people are great. They have a drip pan here. Drip pans are great, just in case any water comes out. You're protecting the inside of your closet and the floors and all that.
Entonces también esta válvula de protección es muy barata para comprarla, se la puede poner y cuando siente que hay agua o se tiene agua, enseguida para la máquina de aire acondicionado.
So there's a lot of dust in here.
Yes.
Definitely recommend getting that clean. It's one of the big ones. And then, let's see, we can find. Oh, it's not bad, it's just dusty. Just dusty. Yeah. So what they recommend is to remove the filter and change it once a month.
Correct.
And to do a full cleaning on your AC once a year. That will help you prolong the life. So what we also do is we take off the filter, we pull it off completely, and we get pictures of your
How was
coils, the coils.
Okay, how was it?
Exactly,
Okay.
to see if it's clean, to see if you need servicing, and a lot of the time people don't service it, so it's taped up, which makes the unit work harder, which now causes it to lose life.
Importante.
So, one of the biggest things we do, and it's all recorded.
En video.
in video. You don't want to use these guys. And so what we do is we get the closest one to their handler, and then we do the farthest one from their handler, and then a few in between.
Okay.
Go in here, I'll show you.
Y que si está enfriando o no.
So you see it's coming out 44 degrees, which is fantastic.
Oh, buenísimo.
What we're looking for is under 60 degrees. If it's under 60 degrees, that means that the AC is cooling properly. So you know that this AC system and the condenser are working.
And you get one of those in Home Depot as well?
Yeah, you can-
Yo voy a comprarme una de esas para mi casa, para probar que esté funcionando bien. Pelea en mi casa siempre. Está muy caliente, no, está muy frío. Ahora ya sabemos que funciona con una de esas. Tiene que estar por menos de 60 cuando midan el aire y está funcionando perfectamente.
So that's the main things that we do for the AC system. We make sure that it is cooling, it's growing. So you're not gonna run into too many problems when it comes to the 4-point when it's the AC system.
Okay.
It's really the other things that you're gonna run into. So now we're going to the bathroom. We'll check it out. See, here you can get a better view of the copper piping. So you can see the copper piping here. I don't know, no, it's a little bit tight here. See the copper pipe?
Oh,
You see
okay.
the coloring? They got a little paint on it, but that's okay.
This one.
Yes. So that's what we're looking for when you're coming.
Ok, así es como se ve. Así es como se ve la plomería, si es que es de copper. ¿Cuál es el nombre de copper? Cobre. Cobre. De cobre. Entonces, esa es una de las plomerías que les interesa. ¿Ok? Lógicamente, saben, chicos, que estamos grabando esto en el cloud de Zoom, así que para que puedan revisar toda esta inspección, también la van a tener disponible, por si acaso. ¿Ok? ¿Alguna pregunta al momento mientras seguimos aquí?
Sí, está preguntando la parte del pozo. ¿Cómo se sabe si el pozo, cuántos años le hace falta?
¿El pozo séptico?
Sí.
Yo no creo que esta casa sea pozo séptico, yo creo que esta casa es municipal water, pero le vamos a preguntar cómo se sabe eso. Lo que vimos afuera fue el drenaje, cómo drenar las tuberías, pero ahora le preguntamos.
Y creo que la misma ciudad dice si es pozo séptico.
Sí, sí, además que ellos también, como dijo él al inicio, ellos siempre van y a los récords públicos de la casa, de la ciudad, y sacan permisos, miran a ver toda como que la historia de la propiedad para tenerla antes de la inspección. Ok, cualquier otra pregunta nos dejan. Ok, they were asking.
We do a lot. Our Instagram, we post all the time.
They were asking, how do you know if a house has a septic tank or it doesn't?
So typically you have to check with the city.
The city,
With
eso es lo que estábamos diciendo
And
justamente.
that's one of those things that a lot of people don't like to hear. You just have to go down to the city and request it in person. So it is an issue there. Now, the problem is a lot of people they ask when you run the camera, when you see it. But you gotta think about, the pipe is this big. And we do have a little light in there, but it can't be that big because it has to be able to fit. So when you get to that septic tank, it's huge, dark. So you can't see whether I just got to the sewer or if I got to the septic. So that's why it's better to go to the city and they will confirm with you whether they have your septic.
And then you can know if it needs to be drained, si el pozo séptico tiene que ser,
If you want to inspect the property, it has to be drained.
has to be drained.
If you want to inspect your thing, you have to drain everything out and then you can see the walls and make sure that nothing's cracked or anything like that.
Ok, eso es una información súper importante para saber si es que las casas tienen pozo séptico o si es que es del sewer de la ciudad. La única manera es ir a la ciudad y preguntar. Y con el sistema que ellos tienen de meter la cámara en la plomería, ellos pueden llegar a este punto, pero no saben si es que es el sistema de la ciudad o el pozo séptico, porque la luz es muy pequeña. Entonces, si es que existe un pozo séptico, lo ideal es drenarlo completamente y hacer una inspección del pozo para saber en qué condiciones está.
Perfect. Right? So we really did more of the major components here. You know, we checked.
Electrical plumbing.
Yeah, plumbing. I mean, we have the water heater up there, so I can't really check the
Yes.
age unless like I gotta climb on the thing, but you know, that's generally what we're looking for. Those are the main points for your 4-point. That is what is gonna let your clients get their insurance. So like I said, that is the main thing to look into. Everything else we can work around is more cosmetic. If you wanna look in the bathroom, the same thing with failed seals. It's gonna happen. We're
Cracks.
gonna run all the water in there at the same time and make sure there's no drop in water pressure.
Leaks.
Yeah, there's no leaks or anything. I can't even tell you how many times I'm looking at a sink and then I look down and I'm in a puddle. I'm like, oh my God, you know, like it happens. It totally happens. So again, a lot of things in the report is a cosmetic thing, and it's your job as a realtor to relay that message to your client. Our job, both mine and yours, is communication. That is everything. That is our life. So make that you communicate, be clear. So that's really what it is when I speak to my
I
clients.
do have a question though. So on the report is usually very alarming reports. So how do we calm our client down and say, no, it's not such a big deal without undermining the fact that, yes, there's concerns or there's things to keep in mind, but not necessarily because the house is falling apart or the deal's gonna fall apart.
That's where,
Color coding.
that's where. Blue is cosmetic, we have orange as recommendation, and we have red as a must. So I'll give you an example as hazardous. We have the pool pumps. There's a few times where they're not bonded,
What do you mean bonded?
like, because that's the electricity running through it. So they need to work. So you need it bonded, like I said, just in case it discharges, it's safe. It's not going into the pool, into the water. there's
Electricidad.
dangers. Yeah, absolutely. So that would be something that you would see on the report that comes out of red. Now, what you mentioned about calming your client down, unfortunately, the only way to go about this is knowledge. Knowledge and communication. Because if you don't know, that's why you should be at the inspection. 'Cause then you can talk to your inspector, and like, hey, I know you said this, how concerned should I be?
Right,
That's
right. How to
essential.
fix it, cómo arreglarlo.
It comes back down to communication, because if you're down with here, doing the inspection, you create this bond,
Yes?
and then hey, Armani, what do you think of this? Can I have you on the phone with my client? Can we speak to my client?
Or if the client is not here.
Yeah.
De verdad, ustedes deberían traer al cliente que está comprando a la inspección. Entendemos que hay muchos clientes internacionales que no están acá y nosotros hacemos la inspección por ellos. Yo siempre trato de hacer lo que estoy haciendo ahora con mis clientes, estar con ellos en FaceTime.
And
Para que-
that's another reason why we do videos. It gives them the
Ellos
sense
ven.
that they're here. You know,
Están viendo
it's
la
not
inspección.
everything, but the big items are
Es
bigger
muy
things.
importante. Ahora, lo que me encantó de ellos, de nuevo, es que sus reportes son por colores. Entonces, habíamos dicho que el azul es cosmético, el naranja necesita reparación o sugieren reparación, y hay el rojo, que es hazard, es peligro. Son realmente las cosas que se tienen que arreglar antes de la casa. Eso es buenísimo porque hace la comunicación con el cliente mucho más fácil. Estas son las cosas que se tienen que arreglar o negociar, como tú decías, en el periodo de inspección. Recuerden que durante el periodo de inspección ustedes pueden negociar con el seller a que les dé un crédito, a que repare. El seller no está en obligación. Si estamos usando un as-is contract, el seller no está en obligación, pero se puede negociar. Si no se llega a la negociación, como dijo Armani, tienes la facilidad de salirte y no comprar la casa.
And that's the most important thing. This is your second
Exactamente.
opportunity of negotiations. A lot of people get afraid of the report. As a realtor, this is your in.
Exacto.
This is where you take the reins and show your clients, I got this.
Exacto.
If anybody could get $2,000 off the contract. In the
Exactamente.
grand scheme of things, $2,000 is not much of a house. So that's what you do. You fight for your client with that contract. And that's what I mean by that. To be educated, to come in, speak to your inspector. Be like, what is this? What do I do about this? Do I have to pay attention now? And TrueView, we have our inspector manager at the office all day. And his sole purpose is that if your client is freaking out, you're like, I don't know what to do. Call us. Call us. And he will explain
Buenísimo.
from the first deficiency to the bottom of the deficiency, what it is, why it's there, and why it's important.
Excelente ese servicio de TrueView. El manager está siempre en la oficina. A veces nosotros no tenemos todo el conocimiento. Yo he aprendido ahora mucho, cositas pequeñas. Yo trato de estar en todas mis inspecciones, pero uno no es inspector. De nuevo, zapatero a sus zapatos. Tienes el conocimiento, pero ellos te dan el respaldo de que puedes llamar al manager y el manager te va a explicar todo el reporte a tu cliente.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's huge. That's why at the end of the day, you're not alone. When you're working with us, we're together. We're doing it together.
It's a
'Cause we-
teamwork.
Yeah, because we want you to succeed. We want you to sell the house, but also, we want to make sure the client is
Yeah.
well informed.
Y que nosotros somos profesionales, de que nosotros no vamos a hacer que nuestro cliente compre una casa que realmente no vale la pena. Si no has logrado negociar lo que se tiene que negociar, es mejor decirle a tu cliente, mira, si no te sientes cómodo, vamos a mandar un relief and cancellation y salte del contrato. Es preferiblemente perder o invertir $1,000 o lo que sea que pueda costar el full inspection que después tener que arreglar problemas graves de tubería o de electricidad o de techo.
And it's really the difference between a realtor and a great.
Exacto.
That's the difference.
Yes.
I cannot tell you on the field, the amount of times I've had people, don't put that on the report. I have to, because I'm not gonna do the client wrong.
Eso es una falta de integridad. ¿Escucharon lo que acaba de decir él? Hay muchos realtors aquí en Miami que le pedían que no ponga ciertas cosas en el reporte para que la transacción no se caiga. Eso es una falta de integridad total y de honestidad que, como ustedes saben, nosotros todos aquí, todos los brokers que somos parte del club y todos los miembros, es uno de nuestros pilares y valores, la integridad y la honestidad de ser súper profesionales y transparentes con nuestros clientes.
And that's what tells me whether you're fighting for a paycheck or you're fighting for your client,
The
you're fighting for
relationship.
passion. And that's really what it is. You can get that commission that one time, try to slide something, but they'll never call you again. They'll never recommend you. But you take care of them, you put a little more effort and find them that other house that they need, they're gonna bring people to you. And that's how you empower yourself, and that's how you get that passive income later in the future. Where you don't have to call people, you're not constantly going to houses and knocking on doors. You have people that trust you and are sending you away. And then it's to the end of the day, I'm gonna always say this, is education, it's knowledge. Because the reality is you are gonna see termites in Florida, you are gonna see possible mold. There's a reason why we say possible. We cannot confirm unless we do a test,
Right.
but it's gonna be there. Because I want them to know, and you gotta think it's their health
Yes.
that's on the line. It's the health. But if you educate yourself about molds, you tend to realize, hey, it's not as scary as I thought it was. You know, it can be very simple. A lot of the times it's not a big deal. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it goes airborne. It requires a little bit more action. But like I mentioned to you before, earlier when we started this conversation, you either pay the $1,000 now or you're gonna pay 45 plus later. This is the cheapest portion of the entire home buying process is an inspection.
Yes.
The cheapest portion. At most, it's gonna be its average is about 400.
If you add all the upgrades that we have, it's gonna be about $1,000.
But it's worth it.
But I'd rather do $1,000 to know where I'm putting my life savings. You know?
So they're asking si el vendedor o la inspección está obligado a decir que si es séptico o ciudadano. Are they obligated to?
Yeah, there is a seller's disclosure form that we have it and we enforce in all our contracts, you know, to give it when we're the listing agent and to receive it if we're the buyer's agent. In the seller's disclosure form, en la forma del seller's disclosure, hay una pregunta que dice precisamente o no. Entonces ahí el seller está obligado a responder. ¿Ok? Es para contestarles esa pregunta. Ahora, you were talking about the 7 points of the wind mitigation.
Oh, yeah, okay, so,
So,
yeah.
antes de que se acabe la clase, no sé qué horas son.
Faltan, bueno, 10 minutos.
Bueno, tenemos 10 minutitos todavía.
Yeah, we can do
Para
a
ver.
question and answer.
Okay.
I have no problems with that. So really the main thing that we're looking for again is the protection. That covers a lot of the credits, essentially. It's the-
Impact window.
Yeah, the impact windows, if you have a garage door, there's impact. If your garage has those little half moons on it,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say it's not impact. If it has wood beams on it, it's not impact.
Okay,
Those are two
importante.
signs to think about when you're looking at that house. So majority is gonna be like that, but there's two big credits that are in the attic. So that's why I always tell people as a realtor, make sure you have the attic clear and open, because that's more money in your client's pocket. So the two things that they have in the attic is gonna be your roof deck attachment. So it's gonna be whether you have plywood or whether you have tonguing roof. So when it's plywood, we look for something called the 8D nail. So these are really big nails. So when the roofers are attaching that deck purposely, they will get one and shoot it off to the side. And that's for us.
For you, Steve,
For us.
it's not the mail.
Yes. And we measure that. And it has to be a minimum of 2 inches off. And we measure it, we take a picture, and that's what we send on the wind mitigation.
Bueno, les voy a comentar algo que nos pasó. A mí me pasó en una casa que nos decían que el techo no fue bien instalado. Y no es que no fue bien instalado. Decían que los clavos eran muy pequeños. Ahora entendí por qué y a lo que se refiere. No es que estaba mal instalado, sino que la persona que hizo el techo, el rufero, puso clavos que no eran lo suficientemente largos. Cuando viene el inspector y se sube al ático, a manera a propósito, el roofer tiene que poner un clavo al revés o al lado para que salga y cuando viene el inspector pueda medir cuánto queda del clavo. Si es que queda más de 2 pulgadas, 2 inches,
It
¿no?
has to be at least 2 inches.
Tiene que salir más de 2 pulgadas para que sea el clavo apropiado para dar el descuento en wind mitigation.
So that's a big thing there. And if it's tongue and groove, which is typically like an older style house, we look for 2 nails per board. That's what it's gotta be. And so the next credit that we do is a roof to wall attachment, which I know all of you have heard single wraps, right? No? No?
Okay, what is the
We're gonna get different classifications to the roof to wall.
Okay. Roof to wall.
Another realtor. And yeah, so it's called roof to wall. So what you have is you have you have clips, you have toenails, you have single wraps, you have double wraps. Single and double wraps are the best ones you can get.
And that's to tie
That's what ties that roof down,
really to the wall.
yeah, down to the house. So you're gonna see that at the end of the houses on the trusses, on the sides. And those are the pictures that we take on both sides to make sure that it is attached properly.
Let me close the door. Just a second. Okay, Jenny's gonna go. Okay, entonces realmente hay una parte que se llama roof to wall y es exactamente eso, cómo se ajusta el techo a la casa, o sea, cómo lo amarran, ¿verdad? Y esos son también clavos especiales, nails special.
No,
How do you
yeah,
attach
it needs a minimum of 3
Minimum.
nails.
Ok, necesita mínimo tres clavos.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a single wrap is just one single wrap that goes all the way around the truss and it goes all the way down to the bottom and that's where it's secured. Double wrap is one and then another one across,
Okay.
right? Then you have a clip, which a clip it goes around, but it doesn't fully go to the bottom. It's like halfway.
Okay.
That's the clip. And then you have a toenail. That's the bottom of the
The
barrel.
cheapest one.
Cheapest one. It's like a metal plate. And you just slap that slap it on. That's how they attach it.
So in order to get the highest discount,
If you want your double wrap, it's
Double.
gonna be nice.
so right.
Most common, single wraps.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's,
we'll give you this.
yeah, you're still gonna get a discount. Those are like the two you wanna hear. You know, you tell your inspector, hey, what's the attic?
through the attic as well or through the outside?
No, it's through the attic.
Esas son las dos cosas que se ven por el attic.
Yeah, because it's inside. So that's why I'm saying those are the two credits that you want to make sure that you find. Yeah, so if your inspection is tomorrow, you go to that house, you make sure there's no boxes. And
And then you
you
go through
open
the
it,
attic.
yeah, that's it, same thing with the electric. Because you need that for the four point, you need the
Yes.
panel with the cover
Perfect.
on, with the cover off. And so these are all necessary things. So if you are proactive, you go to that property, make sure that the attic's good, the electrical panel. And
Exactly.
oh my God, this is a big one. Make sure there's water and electricity in the property. I cannot tell you how many times that has happened.
Sí.
And I've seen clients get.
Miren, eso es importante porque a veces tenemos los sellers que no quieren conectar las utilidades, no quieren conectar a la FPL ni el agua. El contrato nuestro enforza y dice claramente que es el seller que tiene que tener esto disponible para hacer inspecciones y avalúo. Así que si ustedes como listing agent no se lo comunican al seller, pueden estar en violación del contrato y sujetos a una penalidad, porque es nuestro trabajo explicar ese contrato y el contrato todo lo dice. You know that, right? The contract really says that the seller has to have it. So it's not that he's like, oh, I don't want to because the house is vacant. You
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
And the listing agent can get penalized if it comes to the inspection and there's no water on the
That's right, it happens. I've been in that
Yes.
situation and it's unfortunate. I have to tell them, do you want me to do a half inspection? I can just look at it, but I can't test anything.
So they're asking, what happens if the inspection fails?
What do you think?
The four points, I guess with the insurance, what happens then?
You won't be able to close on that contract.
You cannot get insurance.
Yeah.
It's
That's
not
a-
insured.
So what do you suggest then? Like, obviously fix everything that's wrong and then redo another inspection.
That would be the only way to require that.
Or a cash sale. Of course, a cash sale doesn't.
Yeah, cash deal, you're gonna be good, but really,
Pero-
at the end of the day,
pero-
how often do you get cash deals like that? So that's why as a realtor, that's, because there is no pass fail besides that.
Right.
People always tell me, what are the big items? That's it. Whether you're, because that's gonna tell you you're closing or not.
Right,
You waste your
right.
time or,
Y si quieres el descuento es the win mitigation.
and that's where you wanna fight for those credits.
Right.
People are like, what do I fight for with my report? Fight for that.
Right.
So that they can close and they can get their insurance. That is a big deal.
Okay, they're also asking, what about inspection? If you redo your roof, you get it done again, do you need another inspection in order to pass?
It depends on the time frame. Definitely depends on the time frame. If you already sent it out to the company, then most likely you're gonna have to redo one. But if you haven't sent it out yet, because it's happened before in the past, I'll give you an example, the electrical panel. It was a bad panel, they needed that changed, so I told them, change the panel and send me that picture. And it's updated, and everything else was okay.
Change the
Or
report.
you can, yeah,
I've
it's not,
made the
it's not a
report.
long time, yeah, if it's a long time, I can't do it. There's
Right.
no way that's gonna happen. You know, I think it's like over a year, you have to get a new one
Yeah.
and things like that. So sooner rather than later, that's gonna be the best one. But that's why when you get to that property, and then now that you know these little tips, that's what you start shooting for immediate. Immediate. When you go to the sellers, hey, we'd love to get this property, but unfortunately, I can't get insurance for this roof. Is there anything you can do about that? Can you give me a credit? Can you fix it? Hey, piping over here is, insurance is not gonna take that. Is there any way you can replace it? You can get credit, so we can close it like the house. And that's where the realtor comes in and negotiates.
Okay.
So they're asking for your contact.
Pero aparte de eso, estábamos en ático, ventanas de impacto, bueno, los dos puntos en el ático, ¿verdad? Todo el exterior, el garaje, ventanas de impacto y ¿qué
Yeah,
más?
that really
Eso
plays
cubre los
the
7
whole-
puntos.
Yeah, those are all like the goals there. with the house.
Okay.
Is, yeah, they're looking for those, the impacts. And like I said, the house had that label there.
Ajá.
You need to find one for every type
Type
of opening,
O los shutters también.
or the shutters.
Bueno,
What about
importante,
the
pero bueno,
floor?
information.
I've seen some houses with holes on the floor, like literally you can see.
Yeah, but that won't affect your insurance.
That's cosmetic. That would be in the blue.
That would be in the blue.
That would- Se puede ver horrible, que hay un pedazo, Jenny dice si hay un hueco en el piso o si hay un crack en el piso, se puede ver muy feo, pero eso no afecta en absoluto al seguro, es cosmético. Entonces, no se asustan por eso. Pero por lo que hemos hablado, eso es lo más importante para que la casa pueda ser asegurada y el wind mitigation es para recibir todos los descuentos del seguro que ahora son tan importantes.
So I do not mind giving my information out now. I do have to say, I am no longer an inspector.
Yes.
I'm not the one that schedules
No, you're in
appointments.
marketing.
I am fully in marketing. This was a beautiful opportunity.
Entonces él ahora ya pasó de ser inspector y es parte del equipo de marketing de TrueView y por supuesto estamos súper contentos, pero nos va a dar la información de la empresa para que podamos contactar y hacer cualquier una inspección con cualquier inspector de ellos. Realmente yo me he quedado fascinada con esta forma de trabajo, sobre todo ahora en el medio de que estamos, que los videos son tan importantes.
Yeah, they're absolutely huge. But if you do want to call the company,
Yes.
it's, I mean, we can put it in the chat as well.
Yes,
But the number for the company is 305.
This is real fun. You'll watch it.
Quick question. So how would you know, like, what's something the real estate agent will know, right? If the inspector is not doing his best?
That's a very good
That's
question.
a very,
Very good question.
At the end of the day, that's why there needs to be educated and why they need to be present at the inspection. So you need to be aware of what's going on. Really, that's what I've gotten yelled at for things that are not part of a home inspection. And that just goes back to the lack
To the lack of knowledge of the
knowing
realtor.
what it is.
Esa fue una pregunta muy buena que hizo. Él preguntó, ¿cómo se puede saber cómo es que el realtor, nosotros podemos saber si es que el inspector está haciendo un buen trabajo o no, o si es que es un buen inspector o no? Y la respuesta fue, pues parte de nuestro trabajo es nosotros estar educados. Es exactamente lo que estamos haciendo ahora. ¿Qué es lo que se tiene que ver en una inspección? ¿Qué son los puntos importantes de una inspección? Tener el conocimiento, si se fue al ático, si es que hicieron los 2 puntos de descuento, etcétera. Eso hace que uno como realtor, y además que tienes que estar en la inspección. Si no estás en la inspección, ¿cómo vas a saber si se está haciendo un buen trabajo o no? Así que volviendo al número de teléfono.
Yes, 305.
And also here's a tip for that too. If the inspection is 45 minutes, it's no good.
Ajá.
All right, throw it out. Throw it out. I'm a very good inspector and it takes me at least 2 hours to get everything done, the videos and all the works.
Yes.
And we send the report same day, which is also huge.
Oh, wow. Did you hear that?
Same day reports.
Day report. Eso es la primera vez que yo he escuchado. Por lo general te dicen 24, 48 horas que te entregan el reporte. TrueView te entrega el reporte el mismo día. ¿Y quién me dice por qué eso es tan crucial?
Timeline.
Timeline, las fechas críticas. Tenemos 7 días, 10 días. Lo que hayas puesto en el contrato, ese es el tiempo primordial. Entonces, si tú te quedas sentado esperando 2 o 3 días, pierdes 2 o 3 días de negociación.
How are you going to prepare?
Exactly.
Right.
Right. You can't negotiate. Y mientras más va pasando el tiempo, tienes menos tiempo para negociar y si es que no llegaste a nada o te quedas como está y pierdes la posibilidad de pedir un crédito o se arregle o tienes que salirte del contrato. Así que ese punto es crucial.
So I'll tell you the number now.
Yeah.
I just give you the points. 908-3835. So that is our office number. You're more than welcome to follow us on our social media, which is TrueView Inspections. There's no E in True, that's it.
True,
TRU
TRU.
and then View Inspections. We post up every single day, little tips, kind of like what I'm giving you now. We like to post that all the time, so follow us, check us out.
En inglés y en español, inspectores.
We do both, yeah. All our inspectors,
Importante.
I'm the only one that's still working on it. But all inspectors speak English, Spanish, the whole works. If you guys ever want to speak to me personally for lunch and learns, sponsoring team meetings, I love doing that. I love showing up. I love talking. Obviously, you guys can tell. Even my yes.
Okay.
Sí, de todas maneras les vamos a dar su contacto, sus links a nuestros miembros. No sé si es que tengan alguna pregunta adicional, chicos. Estamos por cerrar. Estamos aquí todavía. ¿Tienen alguna pregunta adicional? Jenny está monitoreando el chat.
Sí, no se ve nada.
¿Comentarios? yo quiero ver ahora que todos pongan el clap porque la verdad es que me encantó esta clase. No sé si es que quieren abrir sus micrófonos y dejarnos saber si es que les gustó. Me pareció fabuloso. Vamos a seguir haciendo más clases como estas híbridas, donde puedan estar presencialmente para ver lo que se hace on the field, en el campo. Y pues los que no pueden venir siempre pueden aprender en nuestra plataforma en línea, que va a estar subida pronto en nuestro website, que les tenemos muy buenas noticias, está por arrancar. Así que gracias por habernos acompañado el día de hoy. Este miércoles no te pierdas la clase del próximo miércoles.
Yes, y es de cierres.
Cierre. Todo lo que tiene que ver con cierres. Esto se va a hablar con Giovanni de Fortex. No se pierdan y nos vemos entonces la próxima semana. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Gracias, thank you. Muy buenas
Excelente,
noches.
muchas
Nos vemos la
gracias.
próxima semana. Chao,
Excelente.
chicos.
Oh, this was so awesome.